Attention from one thing to another. I'm glad to introduce Preston Lions Football Club President David Cvetkovski. David, thank you for joining us, mate. Um, before before I get you started, and I know we spoke off air, and I got you on short notice, which was absolutely fantastic. You're a mutual friend of ours, but mate, if you think you've come to a show that's professional, I can give you a heads up, mate, you haven't. So just be yourself, mate. But no, look,
agreement's mutual. If you think you're dealing with a professional club, you got it wrong then too. We're a perfect match for each other.
Thanks for joining us, mate. We mentioned early in the show we wanted to delve into a bit of football Victoria and NPL down there in Victoria. We obviously cover quite a bit of stuff up here in New South Wales. So, mate, jumped at the opportunity to get you on through Nick. Mate, tell us a bit about how long you've been the president down there.
Sure, you can give him a shout out, mate. The only thing
I did already, but
the legal firm in Melbourne, and if any of us need to escape going to jail, call me.
That's how we started today's episode.
So I've already dropped it, mate. Don't worry. I'll send him the invoice as well. In all honesty, Preston Lions, look, one of the biggest NPL clubs in the country, and from where you guys were a few years back, it's just been an amazing rise. I'm interested just to get your initially how long you've been in the role, a bit about your background, and how the club initially got back to where they were, and then managed to turn it around. Before I pass you on to the boys.
Absolutely brilliant question. Yeah, well, as for myself personally, I didn't have a choice. Dad played there in the late 60s, and I think my mum dropped me on my head there in 1972 when she gave birth. I was actually born in Preston, but I don't think I had much choice. And as I always say, I've got two daughters, and they had three choices in the club: Preston or Preston. So they've chosen well because they both go to Preston. But I think our journey as a club, and this is for every club. I say. We need every football club in Australia to be strong and to be growing and to be healthy, because then we've got a good ecosystem. I want to play the best teams in Sydney, best teams in Adelaide. Then we've got a thriving economy of real clubs doing well, and that's got to connect everyone's juniors and boys and girls. So it was no different for us. A large contingent of people came back circa 2013-14. Everyone, before us had tried their best. Football's not an easy game, but unfortunately, where the club was at 2013-14, when a lot of people came back, it has driven a strategy. So I think the first thing people go, what's the key to success? We built strategies. Firstly, we had a 2020 strategy, then we had a 2025 strategy, and then we had a 2030 strategy. Why was that important? And it's not just football. You talk community, you talk infrastructure, you talk financial, it all goes hand in hand. You just can't have success as a junior football club or a women's football club or a men's football club. The whole club must be healthy. And we just started small. And I think the first focus was, we didn't have any kids. We'd lost all the children. In the 2014s, I think the figure we always quote was, I think we were left with 30 or 35 kids. So the first thing you have to do is say, hey, let's bring the community back. Let's bring the kids back, the mums and dads through that, the junior canteen come. And then when you start going to talk to, the different levels, let's call it, your local council, state government or federal government, no one's going to give you funds unless you present with kids. No one's going to give you funds if you don't present with women's teams that are connected. And then, of course, by default, the men's team, you start building success as a club around, for us, yes, is the flagship, the men's team, and is there a lot of interest? Yes, there is. However, look at the success of our women's team. Got to MPL, the top tier before the men's team. So the club starts to thrive in what people forget are the key facets for any club, and that, your junior canteens, your events, your functions, your game day experience, because that's where we derive money to reinvest in our kids. If you don't have it, you're going to struggle if you can't invest in your kids. And as we know, I don't know what it's like up there in Sydney, but some clubs, unfortunately, have to take the sponsorship money or the MPL junior fee money from the kids to fund the men's team. It's very difficult for a lot of clubs.
I know you guys, and it goes hand in hand as you mentioned. The off-field success really drove what happened on the field as well. But I was interested to read earlier today about, and you mentioned it briefly, but just bringing that community back and also sponsorships and events that you guys carried out. And it's not really reinventing the wheel, but was there something that really stuck out for you that you said, okay, yeah, no, we really are back as a club? Was it an influx of teams in that youth space? Was it a particular event that you guys held in terms of sponsorship that came on board, or a various amount of sponsors?
I just think it's been, as I said, we go back to our strategy. Every community member that served the club, every president, we've honoured them. We've tried to bring the club together because every president, every community member that ever served the club did it for a good reason. And if we can get everyone back on board, they know people. They know. I mean, we're sitting at 140 sponsors at the moment. Those 140 sponsors have come through word of mouth. Good people saying, hey, let's go back to Preston. Let's help Preston. Let's invest. How much do they get back out of the club? I don't think they get that much back, but the love for their club. So it's just what, to your point, why did the club change? It's constantly evolving, and we've got to constantly now work to get better. We just worked with federal government in the latest election. It's just given us a promise for a synthetic ground. In Melbourne, we get bogged out. We lose our winters.
Yep.
Sydney, I think most of the good clubs have got a synthetic ground. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So we get bogged out. I either have to cancel training, so the parents aren't happy, and it's not good for the quality of football. Or two, we have to go to the university and pay crazy money to rent their ground. So, if I look at the Sydney model, we learn, we go, wow, this synthetic model, wherever I go, whether it's Arpia or Rockdale, or I'm out in Marconi, I visit most of these clubs, especially now with the championship on. The clubs are all friends. How do we learn from each other to make, a lot of people think, you say each other, on the field. If we're players against each other, we'll back each other up.
Of course.
There's a lot of good clubs. I was up with Matt Viviano up at Marconi a fortnight ago. Just so much to learn. Marconi's just magnificent. Or you go to Arpia, or I'll call Dennis at Rockdale, or here in Melbourne. The clubs are actually looking to help each other. People don't realise that. And that's a good thing.
One last thing for me before I hand you over to Chubbs. I'm interested. We've had a bit of a topic here in Sydney on local football shows, and we've brought it up tonight about the A-League running a winter comp in line with the MPL. I'm interested for you in your position as a president. Do you guys have much to do with A-League clubs or the league in terms of and could you see something like the MPL and an A-League coinciding winter comp will work in future?
Yeah, and I'll say this, I always selfishly care about football, but I'll also selfishly care about my club. And probably from that, what we've learned, because we, for the last 5-6 years, have been in discussions with the FA on what started as a national second tier, B-League, some people called it, which now has evolved. October 11, we start the championship, which is a fantastic product for all the clubs to be involved in. So we do speak to, our friends at Melbourne City here and the Western and Melbourne Victory. We talk to them because they're bigger clubs, probably with bigger problems. We've all got the same problem. Well, for me personally, I see the economic challenges we have in the middle of winter in Melbourne. Let's call it late May, June, July is cold, and you can experience a 30 to 40% natural drop off because of crowds. So if I had my way, I would say in Melbourne we have AFL, you guys have rugby up there. I don't see cricket as a competitor. Maybe the NPLs should realign the A-League. What is it? October they start?
Yeah, October. Yep.
Imagine summer for clubs, and selfishly think about you. You guys are running a club now, and you're looking at the economics of a bar and food and people attending.
Yeah.
Well, the sun brings more people out, and economically it's better for a club. But then, what's the problem with that? Our juniors aren't playing at the same time. So there has to be a massive shift. But to your question, which I think is good, would we align? yes, we could align. Will we compete? Maybe that's not healthy either, competing, giving each other runway to work. Yeah.
I'm thinking from the avenue of potentially double headers. I literally live down the road from Marconi, and make sure you reach out next time you're up the road. Speaking of Matt Viviano, I know Matt pretty well as well. But yeah, I mean, and even Daniel Georgeski, our guest prior, was saying as an ex-player that he prefers to play in the small bridge Seek Stadium. So, why not have a double header up at Marconi where they Marconi play either, your Sydney United in the local derby, and then following it, you got an A-League game with Wanderers, but an out of town club such as possibly Wellington or Perth, where we know they don't have travelling fans. But you've got facilities up there. You've got a ground that could take 10, 12,000, and just make it more of an atmosphere. And that's sort of, I guess, why I'm wondering about the relationship with NPL.
Great. And I mean, you look at our ground, and everyone this year's been speaking about the big game with South Melbourne, 9,000 people.
I'm sure Chubb is about to bring that up. Yeah,
it was crazy in there. So how do we six to 7,000 at BC Connor, Genesville Stadium? It's insane. Yeah. It's no different to Adelaide. Adelaide, I think, is the best football ground in its
100% atmospheres actually. Hindmarsh Stadium,
yeah. Whereas if you go here, I mean, with all due respect, Amy Park, I think you pay 80,000 to open the doors.
Yeah.
So the economy for our game is just not there. So you make a very valid point. How do we, I remember growing up, and a lot of people, I don't know if you guys are in Sydney, but we played ups, and all the teams would be 3 games on a Friday night. And we'd all go to Olympic Park in Melbourne.
Yeah, definitely.
You have Mathos, you have Greeks, Serbs, Italians, Wales, everyone would be out there just watching football, but it'd be full.
100%.
Yeah. Dave, I've just got 2 quick questions before I throw you to Adrian. One is off the field and one on the field question. Off the field, I wanted to... NPL Victoria, like you said, despite, like you said, you've got AFL, probably the biggest high revenue sport in the country. Despite your weather at times where I've lived in Melbourne and it can get very cold, you're doing something right in NPL Victoria because the crowds are better. And the interest is for me is a lot better. I'm involved in NPL Sydney a lot here, and Victoria's just at another level. What are you getting so right that we're not getting here? Because we've got big clubs like you said here, and apart from one or maybe grand final day, we might get a big crowd, but really we don't get the following in the NPL they deserve. And I think in NPL Victoria, you're doing something different because you are still getting a lot of interest there.
That's a really good point, because a lot of the clubs in Melbourne would echo the sentiment you just said here, and it's great to hear your viewpoint from Sydney. But a lot of them are saying, "Hey, how do we attract more people here?" Now, for us as a club, that's really been our strength. To come up 4 divisions in the last years, we know we've got massive support, primarily through the Macedonian community. 30% are non-Macedonian now. Just football followers are coming to games to have a beer with us. So. I think to go back, I look at it this way, and I always say to you guys, I selfishly look at it through Preston's lens. If we were in the NPL for the last 20 years, I think we would be struggling as well.
Okay.
Because what are we playing for? The last 20 years we would have been, and I give credit in Melbourne to the Knights, South Melbourne, Green Gully, Heidelberg. They've all been participating for 20 years.
Big
clubs. For a $20,000 check if you win the competition.
Yeah.
I mean, so we need even in Sydney like now. We are so excited that we will get to travel. I think we'll play the highest ranked non-foundation club from Sydney.
Correct. Yeah.
October 11.
Yeah.
Then we will play the top tier Canberra team and then we've got Avondale in our group. So we'll get to play a Canberra team, and then if you get to the quarters, we don't know where we'll go.
That's right.
How exciting.
And I suppose having the B League now, the championship, does create a bit of a buzz for all the NPL clubs. There is something to strive for as well. Just on the park, you're currently like in 5th spot, doing not bad. Probably could be going a lot better. Heidelberg's really taken the competition by storm this year. How you must be happy where you are right now in finals football, just trying to... Is that the main, just to get in that semi-final spot?
When we, and I'm a pretty down to earth, humble guy that's saying, hey, we aspire to be up with, let's call it the big end of town, the Heidelberg, the South, the Avondale, Oakley, Heidelberg, Green Gully. And, we've been looking at them 4 divisions down. 2019, we were 4 divisions away from them. Yeah. We're pretty proud. But what we didn't want to do, we didn't want to embarrass ourselves this year, come up and get relegated first year. That would have been devastating for us as a club. So all we said is we want to come in, build a team, be competitive, and maintain stability. It's our first year. We're learning a lot. Now, God bless, we make the finals. It'll be fantastic for our club. Now, one eye starts to turn to the championship. We also got to start in 2026 next year. We just want to keep getting stronger as a club. You can't, and you guys have maybe in Sydney seen some clubs be unbelievable for a year, throw everything at it. But then we can't afford to throw the whole club away on our ego. I call it football ego. Then 2025 went in and won everything, but we did it to compromise the whole club. And that's what we're being very careful on. Great question.
Adrian.
Hey.
David, I've got a very, very close friend of mine, Jakey Tradge. He plays down at your club.
I was with him half an hour ago. I was talking with young Jakey about he's the most meticulous preparer for football from a nutrition. And if you know him well, I was talking, he started telling me from the morning how he prepares and what he eats and drinks all day. He's a meticulous footballer, an absolute fine kid off the ground. So, yeah.
Well, listen, he had to learn it from somewhere, but I won't tell you where. We speak often, and he's been down there for 2 seasons now. And like I said, we're very close, and he's had nothing but good things to say about the club. But you've said from 2019, what's changed in the last 6 years that's got you to the point where you are now?
Nothing has changed. We've simply set out a plan to be good to our people, to not get ahead of ourselves, and to build the foundation. When we started this, I said, yes, the men's team, your ego can get in the way. Getting the juniors, getting infrastructure off field. We own a reception centre across the road. That was dormant. We had to rebuild our reception centre. We had to get lights in, pavilions. We didn't have concrete.
Wow.
So what's more important, winning the men's competition or getting concrete for the kids? Yeah. So to your point with Jake, what we have done with stability, this is Louis Arthur's 9th year. That man as a head coach sticks to his word. He's brutal, but he sticks. All we've got to do is stick to our word as a club, to ourselves, to our players, to our parents, and to our supporters and sponsors. And if we keep doing that, there's no secret to this for any club. We all got our own challenges, and we've all got things we've got to get better at. Even us. Think about it.
With the rest of the season, I've been trying to get down there to watch your games solely because of I call
be my guest anytime. Be my guest.
Let's make a trip of it. Let's make a trip of it, boys.
Please come down. Anytime.
I call Jakey Garth Panda after the V8 supercar driver. There's a long history behind that. Don't worry about it. But I've been telling him that I've been trying to get down there. Is there a particular game that's left in the season that you reckon that if we were to come down, big fans, is there a game that we should come down and attend? Do you reckon?
Yeah. I think you go to the start of the season, everyone pencils in probably South. South goes top of the list. I reckon Heidelberg is also up there. We've got a great rivalry, Oakley. I think, as I said before, cross my fingers, cross everything. If we make it through to the finals, and if somehow we can get to a home final, I'm expecting probably circa 7,000-8,000 to show up at the final. That's quite easy. Pre-season, I think the first 4 games. Take the South game away. I think we're averaging 5,000 people.
Yeah, you were. I looked at Preston. We're averaging 5,000 people. It's the biggest NPL crowd in Australia you get. So that's marvelous, David. And I mean, Preston's got a history. I've got a history.
Yeah.
History with Preston. Mate, look at the players that have played out of the club. I still remember John Markovsky, Warren Spink.
Well, he's coaching against us this Friday.
Is he? Yeah. Oscar Carino. I mean,
and his son Jonas is playing for us. I was with Jonas tonight, and then Warren Spink is coaching a lot of young kids at our ground.
That's brilliant.
Working the striker craft, but these names, I think, to a point you've made before, it's very important that we keep these people and welcome them all back to clubs. Unfortunately, with clubs, sometimes we can have falling out historically, whether it be over money or pays or just individuals.
Ego, mate. You mentioned that word before, ego, unfortunately.
More ego.
We've just got to all bite it, even the past players would say, I always say, apologies if I've never, unfortunately, done the wrong thing by anyone, but hey, let's let it go. We all love this club, and we usually have a couple of functions a year. We had this year, we had a Legends game, which they all showed up and all played before the game, and we always have a dinner night where they all come watch the game together. And just to see their faces and the stories. We had Peter Ollerton come back earlier this year. It was really good to see Peter Ollerton, I think, represented Australia in the 70s, coached us, played for us. So it's just nice to see and to welcome people. What a club's about. Ultimately, it's about you guys.
Yeah. No, Dave, thank you for your time today. I mean, even on the chat box, a lot of people saying, Melbourne has better derbies. They have better facilities. I don't know about facilities. I can argue that a little bit, but they do, and it is excellent. And someone saying hopefully Melbourne Knights can survive as well. They've been around a long time as well. So, no, Dave, thank you for your time. Doing a tremendous job. I mean, 5,000 averaging in an MPL era, in an era where you've got AFL and NRL and so many other things happening, and the A League. It's just. We take your hat off to Preston, shining light, and continue the good work down there. And
I'll let you in on a little secret, Chubba, and you can hold me to this, and drinks are on me. If things go right, October 11th is the first round of the championship.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Preston's locked in for a home game. Who will Preston most likely play based on the current New South Wales ladder?
Well, you maybe
Rockdale.
Correct.
Preston Rockdale, October 11th.
Yep.
The game you don't want to miss in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to get a bigger stadium.
Yeah.
9,000 a BT, mate. It'll be for everyone. Canadian clubs is up for everyone.
No.
Beautiful.
Okay, we're going to start saving it up now.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate your time, buddy.
Take care. Great show.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.